Though many people are familiar with using images in their PowerPoint presentations, they may not be as familiar with the features that exist that can really help your images look great. Let's take a look at those features now. Here's an image that I've imported into this presentation. Now, I want to crop the image and really focus on the faces. I'm going to select the image and go along the top to Picture Tools. By selecting this, it opens up a whole bunch of features that we can use to improve this image. Now, I'm going to go here to the right to Crop. Now, if I just select Crop, it will allow me to crop the image in a typical rectangle fashion. Now, if I select the image and I select the drop-down menu from Crop, you'll see I'll have the option to go to Crop to Shape. So this gives me lots of options in terms of I can crop it in a circle, a triangle. Gosh, I could even crop it in a happy face. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go back here and select Crop, and I'm going to crop it in an arrow. So we have lots of options in terms of how we can crop an image, and depending on the look and the feel that you're trying to convey on your slide, it can really help your image look better. Now in this instance, I don't really want to focus on this guy, so I want to find a way to crop him out. So I'm going to select a circle, and I'm going to just crop it in and remove him and remove this side and really just focus on the faces. Looks great. Now let's look at improving the actual quality of the images themselves. Here's some employee images that I've imported, and you'll see they're all kind of dark and it's hard to see the faces and they're a little bit fuzzy. I'm going to take this image and make it lighter. By selecting the image and going along the top again to Picture Tools, this time I'm going to select Corrections. You'll see here I have a bunch of options to sharpen or soften the image, but I can also improve the brightness and the contrast within the image. So by hovering over the various options, it will show you a preview of the actual image. It might take a while if the image is a very large quality image, but by highlighting here, I'll see that, this one looks pretty good. This one looks pretty good, but up here, that's maybe too bright. So I'm going to pick this one. Looks great. I'm going to do the same thing to this image by selecting it and once again going along the top to Corrections. And I'm just going to hover. This one might take a little longer because it's a bit larger quality image. Ooh, this one might be too bright, but that looks great. So I'm going to select that one. And I'm going to do the same thing here for our last image. I'm going to go here and see this one. That's quite bright. Now this one though, compared to these other two, is a bit fuzzy. So it also gives us the option to make it a bit sharper. So by selecting the image and once again going to Corrections, I can make it softer, which you'll see by highlighting it's going to go sort of blurry. We don't want that. And on the other side of the spectrum, I can make it go sharp. That might be a little bit too crisp. So I'm going to just go here to the second one. Great, and that just made it just slightly crisper so that we could see some of the features on their faces, and it matched the rest of the images. Now, I want to improve the images by making them look like they're part of the same series, even though they were taken at different times. So I'm going to color them the same. I'm going to select all of them, and then I'm going to go along the top to Color. Now you'll see I have the option, I could make it blue and different sort of colors based on our template, but I'm just going to select Gray Scale so that they're all black and white. And you'll see here that just helps them all sort of blend together and look like they're all part of the same series. And I could add some labeling here at the bottom. Now we're going to combine what we've learned about cropping images and altering the look and feel of images to develop a subtitle slide. Now, in previous videos, we've covered master slides and layout slides, but there may be an instance where you want to develop sort of a quick and dirty subtitle slide with images. By importing all the images, though, we are going to cover up elements of our layout slide, things such as our logo and this band at the bottom. So for that reason, I've actually imported another version of our logo so that I can work with it on our slide later. So I'm going to import some images. and I'm going to lay them out on the slide. But I'm going to lay them out in a way that covers up pretty much all the space. Now, as I'm laying this out, I'm noticing that I want these images here to be sort of aligned, but this one is a little bit too small. So when I make it bigger though, it's sort of coming out of alignment with these images. So I want to crop it. So I'm going to select the image and select crop, and I'm going to just crop in some of the detail right to the laptop, because that's what I want to sort of focus on. And then I'm going to move the image over. And now just with a little bit of stretching without altering the image too much, you'll see it fits quite nicely in this space. Now great, we have all these images, has a great visual. Now we've lost track of our text in the background. So I'm going to select all these images and send to back by going along the top here to send to back. So now you'll see what's left from our image slides. We have our subtitle, our logo that I imported, our footer, and our page number. I'm going to leave these two here for now, but I am going to move our logo up here to the top corner, and I'm going to move our text here to the bottom. Now you'll see, because there's a lot of visuals here, it's kind of hard to see our actual title. So I'm going to alter our image to make it sort of fuzzy and sort of fade into the background by selecting the image and going once again to Picture Tools. This time I'm going to select Artistic Effects. You'll see here there's lots of different options, but the one I'm going to select is sort of the fuzzy one, the blur. So you'll see now we do have our image, but it's sort of receded into the background. This allows our text to jump out a little bit more, especially if I make it white and I add some shadowing to it. You'll see that it's much easier to actually see the text. I could do the same thing to these images as well, or I could change the coloring and make them black and white. Again, by going to Pictures and Colors, I can make them black and white so that they fade into the background. So lots of options in terms of playing around with your images and making them look better on your slides. Now, the biggest tip that I could offer to improve the look of your images throughout your presentation is making sure that your images are not too small. If you can't clearly see the images or the faces of what you're trying to convey in your particular photograph, then why use it in the first place? If your images are too small because you have too much content on your slides, consider splitting your content across 2 or more slides so that you can make your images larger. And also consider using less images so that you can make them larger. Let me show you how this works. Here's a little collage of images. I think they're fine. It's just they're really small and they're very detailed, so it's hard to see all that is sort of conveyed. So I'm going to actually delete a few of them that I just don't think go with what we're trying to convey here. We're trying to convey stress. So this really doesn't go with stress. So we'll take that one away. And I'm going to rearrange. I'm going to put this fellow in the background. So I'm going to select the image and select Arrange, Send to Back. And I'm going to make it a little bit larger again so we can actually see his face. And I'm going to send this fella to the middle ground. So I'm going to make him larger as well. But I'm going to crop it because I don't really need this sort of part of the image here on this side. So I'm going to go to Picture Tools and Crop and just focus on him and move him here to this side. Maybe size him down a little bit. And then this woman here, I'm going to make her a bit larger so we can actually see her expression. And I can play around with either moving her to the back, behind, oops, can't see her. I can move her forward. And I could play around with sort of the sequence of who's in the front and the back so that I get a nice collage where everyone has equal attention. Then I can take all these images and select them all together and take a look at where they would look better on the page. So you'll see with just a little bit of editing, you can take your presentations from looking okay to great.